What's illegal but people act like it isn't? Switching lanes without using a signal. Jesus Christ, it's one motion with your wrist, it's not hard. And what the beep are you people doing? Do you just hope and pray no one rear-ends you? How do you get through the week in one piece? Edit through T. In the U.S. telling non-managerial employees not to discuss wages. The National Labor Relations Act, which was passed in *1935*, makes it illegal for an employer to prohibit you in any way from discussion of your wages with others. Problem is at will. States can't fire you for this specifically, so instead you're fired for not being a team player. Sure, that sounds good. This is why employers in these states set up policies like being written up for being more than 2 minutes late, so they always have some reason to fire you. Teenagers with leaking each other's nudes. I'm a teen myself and seen it happen to many classmates. Lots of kids don't realize you can get charged with CP as a minor. Some kid at my high school got caught with a beep ton of nudes and they tried to get him with a CP charge. IDK what happened in the end, but yeah, it's fucked up. Folks greatly underestimate what being on the beep offender registry will do to a person's life. They think it's a slap on the wrist just to get that, but honestly the whole thing is designed to try to make the people on it just do society a favor, and commit suicide. If some kid gets on it for CP as a kid, it may not look so bad at that point. But what about when they are 40 and they are still on it for CP? Looks pretty bad then. All their personal info, picture, everything is on the net for people to find. They can't live within 1,000 feet of parks or churches in most places. They can't travel anywhere without having to register in that place, and they can never travel out of the country. Sheriff's offices will often go door to door when they first move in just to tell folks, hey, guess who your new neighbor is? And none of that even covers the vigilantism of people attacking them. One guy had someone break into his house and try to beat him to death with a hammer over it. Every year some dozen new legal restrictions are placed on people on the beep offender registry, with the obvious end goal of making their very existence either completely illegal, or so miserable that they just off themselves so we don't have to deal with them anymore. And TBH, it seems pretty effective. Edit, and in case you think only child predators end up on there, edit 2, 1 correction. More than I thought will allow beep offenders. Most North American and Asian countries will not. Some European countries will. http://registrantag. Org resources travel matrix. Dropping the cigarette butts on the ground. LPT, an empty tin of mints works great as a travel ashtray. I bought a portable ashtray that works under a similar principle. Metal container that slides open like a matchbox to stash dead butts in. It's not mint scented, but it works well enough to get me to a trash can or proper ashtray. Sampling bulk candy in grocery stores. Why did that never occur to me when I was little? Instead I would beg my mom. She would say no. I'd end up in tears, and make the trip to the grocery store horrible for everyone involved. My mother was the one doing the sampling. Asterisk 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 asterisk. She'd open random boxes of stuffs if she could see if she liked something or not. The older I got, the more nervous it made me of anyone seeing. She'd try to get me to try as well, and I wanted nothing to do with it. Not picking up after your dog. There's an awful lot of doggy landmines in the dog walking trails where I take my dogs. My favorite is when they bag the beep and then leave the bag on the side of the trail. I see it constantly. It's going to give me a stroke from the rage. Edit. Lot of people responding that there is circling back and picking it up on the way out. Yes, I understand that this is a thing. My comment was referring to those that leave it. Yes, it exists. Yes, people do it, and I see it so often that I don't think it is always people forgetting. I've only seen this once and it made me uniquely angry. The dog's stuff would have naturally decomposed and you shoved it in a bag. You sick failure of a person. In South Africa, literally everything. It's not illegal if nobody important sees you, and even if they do see you they either don't care, you can probably bribe them. Sounds like Ecuador. I'm from Canada and was backpacking there with my wife. A local lady we stayed with carried 2 revolvers in her purse. Me being a gun enthusiast had to have a look and ask some questions. I asked if guns were even legal in Ecuador. She replied roughly, there, but it's too much paperwork. I just buy these off a dirty cop, and if I get busted I bribe that cop and go buy more guns. In the Netherlands, scaffold theft. It is insane how much scaffolds get stolen, worth of thousands of euros. You mean scaffold is in construction? That's actually really weird. Jup. I beep you not. There was a whole item on TV last week about that business. It's like people's bicycles had stolen, so they decided to steal bicycles. Meanwhile, each year, there is scaffold material that gets stolen worth 15 million euros in the Netherlands. Doing U-turns or turning left or right when there's signs saying it's not allowed. But it was a three-point turn, not a U-turn. Well, I think you've got them there. Entering the freeway at a very slow speed for no reason, or stopping completely first for no reason. Edit. Also, I'll add slowing down while changing lanes. You are supposed to remain at the same speed or accelerate if needed. Changing lanes and then hitting the brakes causes beep loads of accidents. That's why it's illegal in many states. Edit 2. I know there are exceptions for high traffic areas in larger cities, like Seattle and LA. Some have lights to regulate how many cars can enter at a time, but they still have an acceleration lane to get moving after the light. Saw this car taking the ramp in front of me and they just slowed to a stop right before you can enter the freeway. Two cops were behind them and just flicked on their lights, and I could see one of them wave his hands, like, what the asterisk. Everyone behind them had to scoot over into all that road debris to get on the freeway. I saw someone stopped waiting to get on the freeway at the end of 500 feet. Acceleration lane. It is called an acceleration lane on the books for a reason. People just tend to call them on-ramps and off-ramps. But the original term is acceleration lane and deceleration lane. You know, for speeding up to enter or slowing down to leave. I don't know how some people can't comprehend this. People need to be at speed when entering the freeway or they can cause traffic collisions and death. Low-level stealing from work. Maybe a few pens that I leave in my pocket, the accidental AA batteries, the computer monitor. I hoarded pens like crazy to where I would have a bucket of them every year. Yearly on Christmas I would bring it back as a present. We did Secret Santa for Christmas at my previous job, which I hated. I had the reputation of being the very sarcastic member of the team, and bought a small cactus with a note from one prick to another. The gifts were distributed randomly by one of my managers, and my gift was placed in front of the director's door. I must have turned bright red. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. Then my best friend cottoned on and tried to shuffle the presents around a little more. It ended up in front of the director's wife. She made one of the other managers read it out loud because she didn't bring her reading glasses. I may never to get that many drinks given to me on a night out again. I work in downtown Seattle a lot, so heroin and having your beep out. What's going on in Seattle? Lots of heroin and visible penises. Littering. I don't even care that it's illegal. It's the apathetic act itself and its repercussions that bother me. Oh man, I was out driving with someone and they just passed me their fast food drink and said, "Here, throw this out the window for me," and when I refused they went, "What? It's not like you're going to get caught." That's not the beep reason I didn't want to do it. I was walking home with my friend when I was a teenager and I had some rubbish I was carrying home to put in the bin. She said I should just chuck it on the ground, but I wouldn't, and she was like, "PFFT, no one's looking." Same as you, not the reason I wouldn't do it. Rolling stops at stop signs. So many things with driving. Speeding, using your blinker, not passing on the right. Don't get me wrong, I do it too, but driving laws are definitely seen more as guidelines when a cop isn't right there in front of you. Gotta love when they put the blinker on as they're a quarter way or more into your lane, like, beep me, right? Inside of trading. Unless you are a politician in the US. Not just the US, unfortunately. Texting while driving. I live in a college town, and I take a mile walk every morning, and I like to people watch while waiting at crosswalks. It's infuriating how people can just stare at their phones while driving. I could understand if it was just when stopped, but these people roll up to a light, head tilted 90 degrees to the side, one hand on the wheel, and it drives me nuts. We all have company cars where I work. Great perk, don't pay for gas, maintenance, or insurance. I never have to buy a car again. A new one just appears in my driveway every other year. If you get a texting while driving ticket, however, that perk is taken away for 5 years. They treat it the same as a DUI. In the UK, cycling on the pavement, masturbating on an airplane. Thanks a lot, Bin Laden. I thought it was just frowned upon. Stealing artwork photos from the internet and using it